Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 8 and 9 says, "For thus says the Lord of hosts, which is the great I am, the Most High, the God of Israel, let no prophets and diviners in the midst deceive you, and pay no heed to the dreams they dream, for they prophesy to you in my name falsely, and I did not send them, declares the Lord of lords, the King of kings, and the most high of the universe. He did not send them." How many times have I spoke about the characteristics and the traits of those that come to you and they deceive? And you know how it is? Have you ever had certain dogs, or you see certain animals, and it seems like those animals always click to a certain group of other animals? Come to find out, they're all related. It's the same thing with a lot of humans. They'll go because if somebody is preaching falsely, like we have Paul Bagley, they'll go and they'll be attracted to that. Now, I happen to see something on that man's page where he has a little account that you can make a donation so he can go and help spread the word. What word is this man spreading when 9 times out of 10 he's traveling somewhere out of another country, explaining to you stuff, promoting a lie, teaching you a lie, and is a part of that lie? Now, the scriptures state that everybody that comes in my name that will scream, "Lord, Lord, Lord," will not get into heaven. He even sent a great delusion and deceit where he had people healing and doing all kind of wonders in his name because they were preaching in his name, and they are not going to get into heaven. The scriptures state this. So why follow into the folly of man and his understanding when they never even had the purity of that righteousness of God within their heart? Liers, another infamous one. She sat down before all this stuff with the eclipse, a couple years ago, and told everybody that the Lord sent her this big dream. There's going to be a quaking and a shaking and a whole bunch of baking going on in the daggone Midwest. Everybody flooded out there because they believed her dream. All right, she had this big revival. The Holy Spirit was supposed to come down. He was going to shake the earth and do all this other stuff. Now, we go back and we read how all of these other cultures, from the Edomites to the Canaanites to the Hittites and every other Ite was doing way back then. They was doing that same thing. Somebody was telling them that this mysterious God was going to do something. They all went flooding and doing all this other stuff. That's the same characteristics, but they're doing it in the Lord's name. And it never even happened. So then she tried to change it up. We had people coming out stating that they were part of Levi and their name was Khan and all this other stuff. And the person had no kind of sub-Saharan trait in his daggone bone. This is crazy. But the people that follow after it are the people that will rather listen to that because they attract to what's on the outside of that person and whatever lies that comes within that person, not realizing that some of those traits are related to a spiritual demonic being or Satan. Do you guys not understand that there was a division within the earth? And it started from the beginning of man when Satan actually was trying to override whatever creation that God had created. That means that what he did was try to have his own race, his own people, with a whole bunch of own thinking and a whole 9 yards to just wipe out everything that God did. Because he was not finna let God's creation or man or anything that was a part of God have dominion over him. So, being reborn and being renewed actually stands for you leaving all of that behind. Leaving everything and denying that. Now, I will say this, and I can say this on solid foundation. For those that do come over to the Christ, are reborn, renewed, and show it within their actions and take on the traits and the characteristics of the one true God, going in with his people while they're going through this oppression, being a part of it. Because if you have not noticed, even Jacob's mother was a bondwoman, and the Lord loved her. He loved the meek, he loved the humble, he loved the ones that were always down low and went through the oppression and went through this and the third, because they were humble, they were spiritual. They strived and had faith for something better, and they held fast to God within that faith. Even Job, with all the greatness that he had, he would rather lose everything, wife and all, even when his wife said, curse the Lord, all right, then sit down and curse the Lord over his family. And then God replaced him with everything. Once you come over, God will replace you with everything that you have given up. These are the miracles that he wants to work in your life, but he cannot work them if you're following false prophets, false diviners, false liars, people who sit down and say that they are having dreams when they are not having dreams, but being sent dreams from Satan. And these satanic dreams that people have will have a whole bunch of mystical stuff in it, and then he'll have dates, times, places, and all kind of other stuff. And the Lord told you that this generation shall not see no miracle, because it's all about faith and belief. It will not be given dreams. It's about faith and belief. It will not in no way, shape, or form know the day, time, minute, or the hour, because it is about faith and belief. Didn't Yeshua, Jesus Christ, Emmanuel, whatever you feel comfortable calling him, as long as you know that he's the Messiah, where he came from, and he is the Son of God, and he was Hebrew from the tribe of Judah, didn't he tell you? When they said, and I'm going to let you know the official scrolls, hey rabbi, teacher, they're over there preaching in your name, and they're not Hebrew, they're not even part of us. No. Let him. Because those who did be able to do miracles and whole 9 yards, do everything because they're preaching in my name, which means they're spreading the word, hopefully to save souls. And the Lord wants to save the souls of the Gentiles, of the one who are, because of the separation. And I'll get into Enoch and tell you why in a minute. But while they were sitting over there saying this and preaching in his name, he said, you know what? Let them do it. They'll be able to do all these things in my name. But that means they are for us and not against us. But if they sit down and they offer you a glass of water because of the glory and the blessings that they have been brought into by this word, if they are willing to share, treat you equal, even when it comes to the pulpit. Don't sit down and worry about the rich people coming in. Your first thing should be is them poor people, the people that's homeless, the people that's going through things, the people that have the problems, not the ones that are already straightened out and they're financially set because you need their money in their pocket. He said they'll get the reward. The ones that go that extra step to show it within their actions. Because when he judges, he's not going to judge you just because you believe. And then for those that have woken up to the truth in their bloodline and whatever else is going on, you can't sit down and keep saying, hey, I forgive. That repentant stuff only works but so much once you come into the truth. And it's the same thing for those that come into the truth by the grafted olive tree. Do not think that anybody, no way, shape, or form, is going to get treated any special. The only reason why we are the chosen ones is because of the fact that the word was given to us, because that was part of a culture, part of a race, and part of the nationality to go and teach nations, because they were all mixed up in a part of something that was not of God. That's why I always say this is a well-rounded thing, and not an angle, not a triangle, not a square, not a rectangle. We can all be in this together, but see, you have certain people over here that are not going to want to leave and think, because they've been trained to say these people are below them. Then you have the people that are below them that are trying to fit into this because they want to be a part of society and socialistic means in ways that do not fit into the characteristics of God. And you cannot mix those two. Are you crazy? God is oil and the devil is vinegar. What is you trying to do? Make you an Italian salad? It's not going to work like that. So we got to pull it together and learn how to discern within the spirit of the Lord thy God, come into a wholeness, because every function works. Even in the book of Enoch, and I did not forget, it stated when they had the petition, because Enoch was the mediator between them and their atrocities and the Most High. And he said, and they thought, and they were crying and begging and doing all this stuff, the little demons, little traitors, the watchers that let Satan fool them the same way he fooled Eve, slept with the daggone women and the whole 9 yards, which if you look in today's society, you'll see the Hindu and all of that stuff that come from out of India. You'll see a lot of those religions and a lot of that stuff coming out now. You'll even see it in the old movies. You pay attention, they have an elephant and all this other stuff, and some of the 60s, 50s, and in the 70s and 80s movies. But you'll see it more now, even coming out even more. Why? Because didn't it say that he slept with them because of their hair? And if you did not know, that's that. But see, the Lord in the petition, they thought that God was going to destroy everything on this earth, all the races, all the nations, and just keep his. And he said no. He said, just to make you mad and jealous, the Lord wants you to let you know in so many words that, hey, whatever you try to do, your children, your seeds, and all that other stuff, they're going to be worshiping the Messiah. They're going to be coming in and worshiping me and be a part of me and be my children and no longer yours. And that even got more mad. This is the reason why, and I'm trying to be honest right now, this is not a pat you on the back, baby you, and be nice, because black people have tough skin. I can sit up here and call black people nappy-headed and simple-minded all the day long about the atrocities and the wrongdoings, and they'll actually come to a conclusion, admit to it, and say, hey, you got a point, you're right, But then as soon as I tell a Gentile or a white person or any other person, they want to sit down and get mad and go, who is he? What does he have? Does he have $1 billion in the bank and all this stuff? That was the atrocities that God was talking about. Because that's actually characteristics that go all the way back to Canaanite days. And that's crazy. Because you guys don't know it, because God don't really read, don't have really the scrolls, and probably just jumping into it. But those are the same characteristics God talking about. From Satan on down, from Cain on down, from the beginning of time on down. He said, leave that behind and come to me. Because he will give you everlasting love and an everlasting life with that everlasting promise. So now you have these fallen angels and these demons upset. So they aim at. They'll send you dreams. They'll send you false stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that they carry certain things in their DNA that are related to the spiritual world. That is the negative part of the spiritual world. And these demonic spirits will just come at you. And if they feel as if you're going to go to the one true God and that eternal promise that they were condemned never, ever, ever to have and be caught up in the hellfire for eternity, guess what? They want to take you with them. Because to them, it's just like you guys are being traitors and going to the Most High that kick them out of the kingdom and going into the kingdom. Don't you see how it works? And it works the same way when it comes to God's people. He's going to aim at you. But then how the demons aim at them is, hey, as long as they sit down and take some of the traits even just a little bit, sell a couple of their people out, do something for materialistic things, and carry a certain kind of attitude that God hated, because he was really, really strict with us. All right, even with the bitterness, standing on the corner talking about Esau, all the white people going to hell, and all this other stuff. No, they ain't. No, they is not. Because the Lord loves them just as equal. I mean, a whole bunch when they come into the fulfillment of the truth and start carrying that path of righteousness. Then dead serious, because it's their time to shine. So he's like, oh, basically, oh, you came over here to us. Oh, you love me. You change your characteristics. Okay, here goes some grace. And he starts blessing them. Because they're walking that path by their actions and whole 9 yards. They're putting up with some of this stuff that other people have to say, like the bitterness that the Israelites and my brothers and sisters carry because of this. Can't be bitter with everybody unless you know what you're being bitter about. You can't cast a stone unless you know where you're shooting that stone to. So let's get this all together, because see, I try to work on all kinds of levels to bring everybody in. I don't try to sit down here and say, oh, I had a dream and the Lord's going to come and there's going to be a wave coming in and all this other stuff. No, I'm not. It's not that serious. Not for me to lie on the word and then be condemned for being falsely preaching and teaching and falsely, like others have, not knowing the truth. So if you don't know the truth, you don't know the Lord. If you don't know who the people is, you don't know who God is. And if you have not came into the fulfillment of this word, by this word, for this word, then you is a liar. So, with all of the lies and the transgressions of sins, why would a Gentile want to follow into the characteristics that put these same people into slavery, into bondage, and into the atrocities that they have to go through until their promise comes? Dost thou living by faith? Can't you also live by faith? Can't you also walk in righteousness? Can't you also bear the cross, which is the oppression and everything else that these people are going through? So, not everybody is going to make it into heaven. And not everybody that thinks just by the grace alone and they keep everything in a little inner circle with this little bit of grace is definitely not going to make it in heaven. Just because you holler his name and you're getting blessed on earth, guess what? That means that you just practically accepted your little bit of promise or whatever you were going through on a temporary level, but you ain't going to get it on that permanent, eternal level. So, if not everybody that screams, Lord, 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 is going to make it into heaven, and if the Lord said, I will even send them a delusion and let them do all this stuff and whatever blessing they can have on this earth, because they use my name, and not going to get into heaven because their actions did not meet the fulfillment of their grace or what they believe. And if it is stated that this is Satan's domain until the given time where everything is done and it becomes the Messiah and the Lord's domain, meaning that he has the power of the air and on this earth to do whatever he wants to do, because it is the faith while he's doing all this stuff and has all this power around us. It's only the faith and the belief within the Christ and the Most High that we can discern what he's doing. So if this is his world, Satan's world, and not a lot of people are going to get in heaven, please find discernment and be smart. If you got somebody who's falsely preaching about dreams and doing all of this other stuff and throwing in all this mysticism with the stars, and they got 3 million followers, but then you got this one little person over here, he only got 2, and he's over here preaching the truth, breaking everything down, and his fruit is pure. why you're not even getting full off of any of the atrocities coming from that tree over there that has 3 million followers. What does that tell you? See, sometimes the answers is right in front of your face. Because anything that has a lot isn't because it is of God sometimes, and I'm going to use the word sometimes, means that it's of Satan or it has some kind of satanic pagan thing in there that attracts the masses. Because there's only a few on this earth that will know the Lord's voice. Because the truth is not in this earth like it was in those days of the one true God with the Hebrews. And the Lord stated, since we are in the end times, that it shall be like the times of Noah. And guess what? Noah had 150 years to sit down and try to change that area in the world to bring them into the fulfillment. So God did not flood the earth, and he could only change. The only thing he could save was just 8 of them. And that was it. So that's letting you know what it is right now. So if you're going to find discernment and look for the truth, sometimes start looking to the subscribers and saying, oh, he's got a little bit, they got a lot. Then weigh out the options and you'll see, wow, he's really giving a lot of fruit. He's really telling the truth. He's being equal. Because I speak about every race in the nation, all right? And a lot of people that are Gentiles get very sensitive. You get very, very sensitive over what somebody has to say because that holds some truth to it. Even when there's sensitivity and truth within the Hebrew and the Israelite culture, I can tell them nappy-headed, simple-minded ones to stop standing on that corner doing what they're doing. And guess what happens? They'll take the hit to the chin. They'll either ignore me or they'll slow down or try to come at a different angle. So you need to know the characteristics and the traits of God's seed and Satan's seed. Look at what is good and hold on to what is good. Because what has a lot of money isn't always good if God does not accept a rich man and all this, that, and third into heaven because of the characteristics that they carry. What has a lot of numbers that carries a lot of mysticism, stars and quasars, may have a lot of followers, subscribers, or likes, and you know daggone well that they have not done anything for the community. They have not done anything for any poor person. They have not done anything of righteousness, which is what the one true God stood for. All right, but then they got all of these numbers. That lets you know that the cattle are following after another herd of cattle that are committing atrocities. It's always the smallest one in the bunch. Jeremiah ran his mouth, told the truth, and bam, went through it. Isaiah, Ezekiel, Enoch, Moses, Noah, Zechariah, Amos, everybody went through it. These atrocities trying to tell the truth, and the masses would rather think and believe for their own understanding than actually sit down and follow the understanding of the one true God. Because guess what? Living the truth and being honest and trying to be moral, ethically, spiritually within this path of righteousness, it seems to fit not in the characteristics of Satan. So people wanted to run and find their own understanding. So let's try to come into an understanding of the Most High. Because I really find that black people can't even come into the understanding when they go to church on Sunday. But boy, you get a black person following after Buddha, their behinds up there doing all kind of yoga and I'm stretching out. They're more devoted to something that doesn't even have to do with their bloodline, period, than they do something that actually does. So this automatically should let you know the truth of the truth when speaking about this truth. So let's find discernment, people, within this truth. Do not fall for false prophets, lying teachers, those that dream, those that say that they had dreams, and those that say that they've seen Jesus with green and blue eyes and all kind of other stuff, because the Lord did not send them. It was stated in Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Moses, Zechariah, and all through the New Testament. For even Satan can pretend to be an angel of light. Blessings.